Thank you so much. Thank you. Good evening. And thank you, Elizabeth, for asking me along. My name is Maya. I'm an alcoholic. I'm from the UK, and I'm so grateful to be here. Such a beautiful meeting. Such a wonderful start. Welcome to all the newcomers. Welcome to all the newcomers counting days. This is where the miracles happen in these rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I can bear witness and give testimony to that. And it's a beautiful life. It's a beautiful way of life to get sober and stay with us. Don't keep coming back. Stay with us, and yeah, just sit back and listen to the similarities, and hopefully you'll get something from my share or any of the other sharebacks today. My name is Maya. I'm an alcoholic. I'm from the UK. My sobriety date is the 15th of May 2022. My home group is UK Open Lounge. I do service on there. We meet 2 days a week. We meet on Wednesdays and Saturdays. I also have another home group, which is Barnes, and we meet on Tuesday lunchtimes. And again, that's another amazing meeting that I chair. And I do a lot of service. Service keeps me sober. God keeps me sober, and this beautiful fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. So I chose this reading. It's really imperative for my recovery. It's so important, And before I look at that reading, I'm just going to go back to page 86 on awakening. So for me, this all starts on awakening, and for all you newcomers, we the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous, we have a 12-step program. We go through the steps, and with a trusted sponsor, and having had a spiritual awakening, I now am in the position to read these pages and maintain my spiritual condition on a daily basis. So so I'm an alcoholic. I have a disease of the mind. When I put a drink inside me, I can't stop. And, I'm off to the races. I've lost all power of choice. I've lost all power and control, and there's always a consequence, and there's always bad consequences, and they never get better. The drinking progresses, and, eventually it leads me to, as our dear friend Mr. Ralph White would say, a well-whooped tenderized ass. And I need to get myself into the rooms. I can't have another drink. I don't want to have another drink, and I want recovery more than anything in the world. So having had a spiritual awakening and being armed about the facts about myself, because this is a disease of perception. It's how I look at the world, right? I look at the world through through my selfish, self-centered desires and wants, right? My ego, and based on how I see you, how I see the world, based on my perceptions, is how I behave. Is how I behave, is how I act, is how I turn up, is how I show up, So it's very important for me to be in fit spiritual condition. And I do apologize, feeling a bit under the weather today. So yeah, I wake up in the morning on awakening. Let us think about the 24 hours ahead. I'm a selfish person. It's always about me, and I wake up in my default settings, and I need to do this daily routine. I need to bring God into my day, and this is all about bringing God in and all about surrender. And I ask God to, and it says in the book, divorce me from self-pity, dishonest or self-seeking motives. Divorce me, because it's like I'm married to these things. These things just come up, right? I have had 40 years of being this way, and these things just crop up in me. So I wake up in the morning and I go to this power greater than me, this power that's got me sober, this power that saved me from alcoholism, this power that's restored my family You know, this power that's restored me to sanity, I'm asking this power to remove these things from me, because these are the things that block me from this power, right? These are the things that block me from how I see the world. So I ask this power to remove these things of me. And my motives is so important, because even though I'm behaving in a certain way, I have to also watch my motives. What are my motives here? Are they selfish, self-seeking, dishonest, etc.? And ultimately, how am I behaving? How am I behaving when I go out there, when I'm at home, when I'm outside of the rooms, right? So cleared of wrong motives, and, you know, surrendering to God and asking God to basically, here I am, God, take my day, surprise me, handle my problems, and you know, just be with me today. And that is what it's all about. That is what it's all about. It's about me giving myself to this power every single day, because I can't manage my own life. I cannot manage my own life, and I make poor decisions based on my perceptions. I make poor decisions based on my past experiences. I make poor decisions based on the harms that have been caused from me in the past. And I make poor decisions based on things that trigger me on a daily basis, right? So I have triggers. I have triggers, and they cause me harm. And you know, I step 10 for me is all about the pause, and I am still just over 2 years sober, and I am learning, you guys. I'm in that spiritual garden. I'm on the terrible twos. I'm the little toddler, and I'm running around, and I'm barking up the wrong tree, and I'm bumping into people, and I'm stepping on their toes, and they're retaliating. You know, I am that little toddler in the garden, you guys. I am that little girl. I have to learn how to be and to behave and to act, and I have to watch myself. So I wake up in the morning, right? I've got a 9-year-old daughter. She sleeps with me in my bed, right? She's so attached to mummy, and she is literally like, I'm crushed in the corner, and immediately I wake up and I'm so angry and I'm so in self. It's her fault that I haven't had a decent night's sleep. It's her fault we're late in the mornings. It's her fault that I haven't woken up in time. It's her fault that we're going to get to school, right? My perceptions. It's her fault we're going to get to school late. What are the mums going to think of me? They're going to think, oh, look at her. Oh, look at her. She's probably been drinking again. These kind of things are going to wind me up first thing in the morning, right? I need to do this. I need to ask God to remove that selfish, self-seeking behavior. And you know what? It's taken a long time, but slowly and surely I am getting there. Thank you, darling. You can go now. I'll be done soon. And you know, practicing the pause, because I tell you, my daughter is my greatest teacher. My daughter is my greatest teacher, and my daughter will test my patience and test my boundaries, and I have to pause when I'm agitated, and she knows what buttons to press, and I have to pause, and I have to practice that pause, and I have to take a breath and allow God to come in. God, give me an intuitive thought. I need to go into another room. I need to pray. Otherwise, I am going, like, literally my head's going 360, and I'm yelling and screaming, and I don't, you know, and I don't do that as much anymore. So it's all about my behavior and how I go about my day, you know. And it does say in the reading, we pause when in doubt, and we ask for an intuitive thought. And I have to do that. And sometimes the intuitive thought is no reaction. You're not allowed to know my secrets. Out you go. This is my daughter here. Go on, out you go. Shut the door. So what I'm saying is, my intuitive thought is telling me don't react. Because when I react, she reacts. When she reacts, mummy steps in, the mummy, the controller, the provider, the protector, the person that pays for this house, this person that does everything. How dare you speak to me like that? So my intuitive thought, the God in me, pause, don't react. And it's hard. It's hard when you've got a 9-year-old going on 19 and she thinks she's a big woman until she wants something to eat, until she wants her breakfast served, you know. And I can't make this stuff up, you know. Like I said, she's my biggest teacher. And pause when agitated. We remind ourselves we are no longer running the show. When I was running the show, it was not nice, you know. I was horrible. I was horrible. I was vile. I was angry all the time. I was burning up that foolish energy, you know. I'm running around with my halo on my head and I think I'm all that and I think that I know best and I know and I know and I know and I don't know anything. This is all based on what they're doing to me. You see, she's going to make us late for school and I look bad. But no, I've turned it around. You see, like, I'm like, baby, if you get late for school, you're going to miss reading. And then your teacher might just say one day, you're going to have to stay behind and make up the 15 minutes that you're late, you know, or mummy might turn up 15 minutes late to pick you up from school. Like, there's ways. Screaming and shouting at her and getting into that state, it does not help, right? So I try to show up and I try to be so calm with her, and it works. It really, really does. Bringing God in and what have you. And you know, I'll tell you a story. The other day, we were on our way to school. I'm not sure how long I've got. We were on our way to school, and she's been having issues.
You've got
at
7.5
school.
minutes left, Maya.
So my daughter's having issues at school, right? And with some other girls, and she hates school and she's really emotionally unstable and she hates her life, and you know, sounds familiar. She's got low self-esteem, low self-worth, and she feels really bad about herself, and she's not good enough, and she's not like those other girls. She's not like the cool girls. She's not like the popular girls, and she wants to be like that, but she can't get into that popular circle. And she's hurt, and the girls are being mean to her, and we're walking to school, and she's begging me, and she's saying, mummy, please, like, please just homeschool me. And I'm like, I can't, like, you have to go to school. And she's just crying uncontrollably because there was an incident the day before. And she's just crying. I'm sorry, I'm hot. She's just crying uncontrollably, right? And I can see her little face sobbing. And I stop in the street and I put my arms around her. And I just hold her. And I pause. You see, I don't react. I don't start screaming at her in the middle of the street and telling her, get your legs moving and get to school. I stop because I see that little girl broken. Had it have not been for this program and Alcoholics Anonymous and a loving God in my life, I swear to you, I would have been screaming down that street. I would have been shouting at her, get yourself to school. And I stopped and I paused and I asked God for this intuitive thought. And I just held her. And I just held her. And she cried more and more and more. And I said to her, let's pray, because she knows the Serenity Prayer. She knows Mummy prays. And we were in the middle of the street, and she was like, don't you understand? You don't understand. Hysterical. And then she starts telling me she doesn't want to live anymore and she wants to die and she wants to kill herself. And immediately then it's like I've been smacked bang in the heart. Shattered. My 9-year-old little girl's telling me she doesn't want to live. My heart is shattered. And I don't know what to do. See, drinking is not an option for me. And I don't know what to do. So I'm holding her in the middle of the street. I'm holding her in the middle of the street. And I'm just giving it a moment. And I'm praying and I'm praying. And she can't hear me, you guys. She can't hear me. And I said to her, let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story. And I said, the story's about a little girl. The story's about this little girl. Before she was born, she was saved twice. God saved her twice before she was born. And when she was born, she was barely 1 pound. When she was in intensive care. And God saved her and took care of her and protected her time and time and time again. And God protected her for 7 years while Mummy was drinking. And she was running around this flat all by herself. And I told her she's a child of God. That she's loved and she's safe and she's nurtured and she's protected. Because I don't know what else to do. Told her she's here for a reason. God didn't just keep saving you over and over and over again for you to take your life. What is that but an act of God? I'm just a drunk. I'm just a drunk who's worked a 12-step program, who's trying to find a spiritual way of life, who's met the most amazing people. I'm just another drunk who couldn't stop drinking. And I'm telling her all these things. And I'm not putting fear into her, I'm putting the love of God into her. See, when I was a little girl and I was scared and I was petrified and my parents would put the fear of God into me, I couldn't trust that God.
You got 2 minutes left, Maya.
Thank you. And I put the love of God into her and I told her we get God reliant. And we rely on the God that saved your mummy. That got your mummy sober. And your mummy's here right now. And that God can move mountains. And that God can part the sea. She's a very intelligent girl. And immediately, and I kid you not, and I can't make this stuff up, I see a peace on her face. And she's breathing again, and her little face is not shaking, and she's ready to start putting one foot in front of the other and being a brave little girl and going to school. And we get to school and she's a completely different girl. And I tell her I love her. And I tell her to go and be awesome. And I tell her she's brave and she's strong and God loves her. And no matter what happens, she's protected. And I speak to the teachers. And I let them know what's going on. You see, the old me would have been down to the school. The old me would have been down to the school and been on the phone to the mum, and I would have been mouthing it off like I'm all that, like I'm it, and my child is some princess, some queen. No. And this is not something that this just happened through prayer, through standing on the street, holding my little girl and praying. And these thoughts, these seeds were being planted. And what is that but a miracle?
That's
A
time,
miracle
Maya.
of a loving, thank you, a miracle of a loving God, higher power, beautiful fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous, and a 12-step program. If you are new and you're here and you're struggling and you cannot stop drinking and you want to stop, welcome home. Welcome home. This is where we get well. This is where we get well, and this is where our kids get well, and this is where our families get better. My name's Maya. I'm an alcoholic, and that's all I've got. Thank you very much.